Welcome back to the Bullpen on the Horn Takes podcast. It's the internet show all about Texas baseball. Joining me in the bullpen tonight, as always, Marc Pena of Occupy Left Field, Zach Sim of OrangeBloods.com. Fellas, how we doing tonight?
Doing fantastic, man. Good start to another week. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, good to be here to talk a little baseball. Make sure to follow us on X right down there at the bottom of the screen. Follow us on X for all the latest on Texas baseball, Texas sports. Subscribe, get notified for all the latest content on our YouTube channel. That's at Horn Takes. We would be remiss if we didn't mention those delicious ChinookCeedery.com seeds. Use the promo code Horn Takes to get 10% off your order. I think they're running some better deals. I will tell y'all the better deal. I think 15% through the, I don't know what the promo code is, but I think they're doing some kind of 15% off deal for the College World Series and Super Regionals and all that stuff. Go follow them on Twitter. You'll find it, I'm sure. It's out there, but make sure you go load up on the Chinook Ceedery seeds. I think Chinook Ceedery seeds are not just for football, but they certainly go well, or excuse me, not just for baseball. I think you could transition that over to football as well. So you can load up now and still have some when football season rolls around. We've only got one more week of college baseball. Well, a week and a half, 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Roughly two. I mean, it could be 2 weeks depending on how that championship series goes. If you're joining us on the chat, jump in the chat, give us a comment, question, whatever you guys want. We'd love to answer y'all's questions and interact with you guys. Before we get started on the baseball, which, by the way, there's a really good baseball game going on right now. It kind of got ungood, though, there in that last half inning. The Murray State Racers have a 2-run lead. They only need 3 outs to punch their first ticket to the College World. If you see me looking off, that's what I'm looking at.
Me too.
I'm distracted a little bit. Far. Yeah, but before we do that, let's talk about those Lady Longhorns win their first Women's College World Series up in Oklahoma City. I think they've been I think I heard them say they've been 8 times. I know they've been 4 times here really, really recently, and have just kept running into that just buzzsaw of an Oklahoma team. They finally get a win over them in the College World Series. Texas Tech puts them out, and then we get a really good 3-game matchup against the Texas Tech Lady Raiders. And, man, that's a scrappy team, and that pitcher is just really, really good. She just completely ran out of gas. I think that was kind of that's obviously what Coach Mike White was planning on with his pitching strategy and all that stuff, and he turned out to be super right. What are y'all's thoughts on the World Series for the ladies? What do we think this does for this Texas program that's been one of the best programs in softball for a long time, but now it finally reaches that pinnacle? What do we think?
And that was a fun team to watch. That really helped me coming off of the regional disappointment and having something to watch kind of immediately.
Exactly.
After that, man. So congratulations to them. They deserve it. That's a program, like you mentioned, that's been knocking on the doorstep for years. So it was really cool to see them punch it in, man. And those 3 games were very, very entertaining. Obviously, the first 2 were kind of, going at each other back and forth the entire time. Game 1, that Atwood hit on the pitch out was hilarious. I was laughing so hard about that, man. But just a fun series, and glad Texas got the win, got to the pitcher. I was hoping she'd run out of gas, and that's exactly what happened. So just a fun weekend all around, and glad that White and the program got their first title.
Yeah, that was an interesting at-bat. Me and my wife almost simultaneously looked at each other and went, she just threw that pitch. I think it was the second pitch. Was pretty much waist high right down the middle.
It was the first pitch.
Yeah, one of those two first pitches were really good pitches to hit. And I think it took Reese Atwood a minute to just kind of go, did that really happen? Mm-hmm. And then I told my wife, I said, she's fixing to swing at one of these. If she keeps doing that, there's about to be a cut happen. And it was really interesting because ball 4, she could have taken that easily because they were going to call it a ball regardless. The catcher standing up. There's no way they're calling any of that stuff a strike. She could have taken the easy road out, but I think it worked out perfect because I think the Texas Tech defense was kind of back on their heels a little bit. They weren't really prepared to field a ball. and she smokes it right through the what they call it, the 5-6 hole over there, man. Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun to watch that. And then obviously in game 3, they just really opened up a can in the first inning and just kind of look back from there. So yeah, really fun season. I agree with you 100%, Mark. That was something that I think, whether you really follow softball or not, that's something, if you're a Longhorn fan, you absolutely really needed after a pretty disappointing regional round for the Longhorns. But yeah, congrats, ladies. Keep it up. I saw where they have they've got 2 girls coming in. I don't know which high school, but they've won like 3 straight state titles in softball.
Yeah.
And one of them is like the Gatorade player of the year in her state. I don't know if it's here in Texas or not, but looks like they're loading up again to try to do it again. So be interesting to see how that team does next year. But again, congrats, ladies, on the championship. Let's talk Texas roster movement. So last time we were here, we had a lot of thoughts, but we didn't really know for sure. Zach, run us through all the changes as Duke hits a home run in the bottom of the 8th to make it 5-4.
That's a wild game, man.
It is a wild game. So talk to us a little bit about the roster moves that have happened so far in this last week.
Yeah, so there's 10 guys or 9 guys in the portal. So Toomis, Scott, Covert, Whitehead, Jordan, Richardson, Service, Farmer, Luna, and Stewart all entered. And then Texas brought in the number 71st ranked player in the portal. He's an infielder by trade. He spent most of his time at second base, but he also played some first base, a little bit of shortstop. But he's a Wichita State kid, Josh Livingston. Big bopper. You know, he hit 15 home runs this past season. He was pretty much, outside of one pitcher, I mean, he was the only bright spot on a Wichita State team that wasn't very good, but he's shown from the left-hand side that he can really swing the bat, and that's what the priority is for the coaches, is finding some left-handed hitters to even things out. And so be interesting to see where he slots in. You know, he looks like a guy that probably would be more of a corner guy, maybe a first baseman, based on what I've seen. Again, you don't see many left-handed first basemen, but then again, Jared Thomas just did that 2 seasons ago for Texas. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could end up at first base or maybe third base, because he's got a good arm on him, right? And so Mendoza's going to stick at second base, and so you're not going to he doesn't really project to play shortstop, and they're chasing some other guys at shortstop. So I see him on one of the corners, but he's an athletic kid, and again, he can really swing the bat, and he's not just a power guy, right? He doesn't have a lot of whiff. And so his strikeout numbers are good. And so I think he's a really good kid that can come in and help that offense in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, you mentioned the lefty bat. I think that's something that obviously you look around the SEC, there's a lot of teams with a lot of lefties, and probably more around the country as well. I really noticed it this weekend watching Tennessee and Arkansas. Tennessee just has a whole crap ton of left-handed hitters and switch hitters and things like that. So yeah, I think getting another left-handed bat in the lineup. We talked about some other guys in our last show, Zach. Do we think there's going to be some more movement? What does all that look like? I mean, what's the timeline? Because they have the transfer portal is open for Texas, right? And but you said it's a longer period.
It's open on June 2nd, and it goes until July. So
okay, so they have time. So there could be more conversations and things like that, depending on what else happens in the portal, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be conversations kind of like last year. I mean, they're going to have to recruit the guys that are on the roster that they want to keep, and they're going to have to continue to ensure that they don't enter the portal because they're getting courted by another team, right? I mean, that we saw that last year when Schlossnagle said his biggest recruiting win was actually keeping that core group of juniors on the team, Galvan, Flores, et cetera. And so, they're going to have to continue to recruit those kids all the way until the portal closes. And, the coaching staff is just ridiculously busy. I mean, they're hosting guys every single day of the week. I think they have a guy every single day of the week this week. They hosted guys this weekend. They hosted some today. So they've got guys rolling in, and it's not like in years past where you had to go out and say, I've got to promise you the world, or I've got to give you all the money. They've got people knocking on the door saying, I want to go pitch for Coach Max Wiener. I want to go hit for this team. Like, they see the potential that in winning the SEC only enhanced that already, right? You already have a big brand. You already have a coaching staff that's well established as a winner. And then in their first year, they go out with a makeshift roster and win the SEC. I mean, they're getting a lot of attention. It may not look like it on the surface because, they're taking their time and trying to find the right guys, right? Like I looked at some stats earlier today and I was like, okay, what did Arkansas do in the portal last year? Okay, they brought in some absolute studs like Zach Root, number 1, right? But some of the guys they brought in weren't very good. And then the opposite is that you look at Georgia, who brought in a ton of guys. They got bounced out of their own regional just like Texas did. So just bringing in guys to bring in guys isn't always a strategy, right? Like you have to make sure they align to what you're trying to do offensively. They have to be coachable. They have to come in. They have to be willing to be part of the culture and buy in. The other thing people have to understand is Texas is not the easiest school to get into because of the system that they run, right? Like if you're a sophomore or junior, it's actually really, really tough to get into Texas. If you're a freshman or a senior, it's easier. Now, if you're a senior like Jared Spencer, it's a little tough sometimes because that dude had to work his butt off in the summer just to take enough classes to be eligible to then go into like one of the, the master's programs. And so, and the reason for that is Texas has a rule around how many hours you have to have at Texas in order to graduate and be eligible. And so, like I said, it may look like it's quiet, but those guys are spending an inordinate amount of time on the phone and making sure that they're doing the best they can to build a roster. And from everything I've heard, we'll be having some good news. Could be over the next couple of days, certainly by the end of the week, and then going into next week. So,
yeah, you mentioned the hard work, and I remember a tweet from Marc Pena of Occupy Left Field this weekend. Waiting is the hardest thing to do on the transfer portal. Texas fans, you see other teams, immediately, like you see like these big, oh man, huge commitment from so-and-so. He's the number one. And I get it. Like you want to see that as well. But I think to your point, Zach, you also got to make sure you're bringing in the right folks. Florida is another team that brought in a lot of guys last year, I think, and really didn't have a great year. They finished strong, but then they couldn't finish anything when they got in the postseason either. So, Mark, you've been through this a little bit. Like, why is waiting so hard? What is it about the Texas Longhorn fan base?
Man, I'm the most impatient person in the world, and I gotta be honest with you. I know it's only been a week since the season ended, man, but you see teams just kind of stacking guys. I don't understand, Zach, how Georgia does it, but it feels like every time I open up Twitter, they have a new guy that's committed to Georgia, and it was just like that last offseason as well. So some of these teams are kind of striking while the iron's hot, but we're in a much different position than we've been in the last couple of years, and I trust that coming off of the success that we just had, plus having Schlossnagle and his crew, right, that they're going to be selective and get the guys that they want and get the guys that we need to solidify the roster moving into the offseason. So again, I'm going to sit back and try and remain patient and see what happens. It's kind of that limbo period, right, where like you don't even really know what your team's made up of right now. Like Zach said, current players still have more time to enter their name in the portal. You don't know what's going to happen in the draft. You don't know who we're going to end up getting that may change somebody's mind on the current roster to end up entering the portal instead of staying. So, you just feel like you're in that limbo period where you don't know what the team's going to look like moving into next year, and that's a bad feeling. But to Zach's point, hopefully it'll end up well, and we'll get the pieces that we need to improve the roster overall. But I'd be remiss if I didn't take a second here to just thank the players that are leaving, right? I know some popular kids have decided to find opportunities elsewhere. Ace, Tommy Farmer, kids that we love like Oliver Service, Jaquay Stewart, all of the guys, right? They're all great kids. Wish them all well. Want to thank them for everything that they've done for the program. And man, I'm going to be cheering them on at their next stop and really hope that they catch on at a school that they like. And we'll be looking forward to seeing them doing great things wherever they end up.
Yeah, Easton Tumas, a guy that pitched a whole lot last season, and
Yeah.
I don't think he towed the rubber one time this season, if I'm correct.
He redshirted.
Yeah, so yeah, and then a guy like Tommy Farmer, who really had a good season. Probably didn't end up the way he wanted it based on the start, but still a really solid. A lot of big hits came out of Tommy Farmer's bat this year, and then a guy like Ace Whitehead that's just absolutely just giving everything he has to the program. Pitched last year with an injury and was willing to do the same this year at certain points during the season. And yeah, man, it's tough to see those guys. And I was talking to my wife and I was like, man, this is like the worst part about this new college sports we have today is you get to meet these people and you get to, build these friendships and bonds with them. And then all of a sudden they're just gone. And they're off on they're off to another school or whatever to play ball. But, they got to do what they got to do too. That's an interesting point you made. I wanted to back up to something you said. Like you were talking about the draft. And so I think the draft goes both ways. You've got your incoming recruiting class draft that you have to kind of obviously have to worry about. And then you've got your guys that are draft eligible. What are they going to end up doing? And I wonder how much cat and mouse goes on. You kind of said something that was interesting about guys coming in could affect other people's decisions. I wonder how much cat and mouse there is. Maybe we haven't seen announcements yet because they're trying to figure all that stuff out. And I'm not saying like, I'm not saying being, shady or anything. I think it's just part of the deal today where you kind of have to have different conversations. And I mean,
it's part of the game. If you have to keep leverage the entire time.
You have to keep.
The moment that you as a prospect say to a recruit, or not a recruit, but a scout or a GM or even a college team and say, I'm open to signing, you just lowered your amount. Yes. The moment that you tell them a number, you have now put yourself into a position where you have either moved yourself up their board or moved yourself down their board, right? And sometimes it's good and bad, right? If you are a very signable kid, that often means that you could potentially get drafted later in the rounds because they know that they can take a flyer on you and spend $200,000 less, knowing that you're going to sign, right? So like it's not even cat and mouse. I mean, it's legitimately
it's business.
It's business, right? It is down to business. Like you were talking about hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars at stake for some of these kids. And you're absolutely right. And, it goes a ton of variables, right? So you have the kids that are coming in from high school that are all being scouted. They're all being looked at. Hey, what is your number? Like there's a kid on the current recruit. Well, he's technically a signee. Like he's got a big number. Now he's got a big prospect number next to him. Like he's very probably going to go day one. But what if he doesn't go top 24, 25? What if he slips down into the 30s or even, God forbid, he slips down into the second round? Well, all of a sudden, that throws a wrench in everything you're doing, right? From building a roster, for having a spot for him, having money lined up for him, right? So you have to have all these contingencies in place to say, what happens to this kid or that kid? Then you've got the kids on your own roster going, like Galvan's a great example. Hey, I know that I'm going to be one of the top catchers in this class. There's going to be some high schoolers that are ahead of me. But from a college standpoint, like I am one of the top probably 5 or 6 prospects, right? I figure to go in the top 5 rounds. Well, you go to round 8 or 9. One of the contingencies is you need to know what's going on behind you in the 2026 class. You need to know what other juniors or rising juniors are going to be there to say, well, if I come back for a year, can I help myself or do I hurt myself because I lose leverage now that I'm a senior, right? So like there's a ton that goes into that.
Yeah,
and all the time,
an absolute mess.
The coaches have to know what you're thinking, what number you're willing to sign for, what realistically you're going to be offered. And so it's crazy. Like, and Texas is lucky. They have one of the best in the nation that's helping run the show. They have Nolan Kane. But, like this is not transfer portal season. This is Nolan Kane season because it's not just a transfer portal. Like You've got high school recruiting. They're trying to hold on to that class. They're trying to hold on to their current roster. They're trying to recruit a new roster. Like it's freaking crazy season, right, man? It's
and I think all that gets more difficult now that we're dropping down to 34.
So that's
throw
the other
another
thing
wrench
is
in there.
The house settlement got signed, right? So you no longer have 40 kids on your roster. You have 34. Now you don't have to get to 34 until December 1st, meaning you could have 40 kids come in to the fall, August 1st.
But then you got to cut 6 kids.
But now you got to cut 6 kids, right?
And it's Survivor and fall ball, right?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, because if you think about December 1st, fall ball's over. So by the time you exit fall ball, you better have 34 kids lined up, no injuries, healthy program. And then realistically, like if you just think about the way that Schlossnagle wants to build Texas as a program, he doesn't want to have to rely on the transfer portal, right? Like this year, they're probably going to go 8 deep in the transfer portal, possibly 9 or 10. But that's not what he wants every year. Every year, he wants to build on his freshman classes, and he then wants to cherry pick and say, you know what, that we probably could use a second baseman, or we could probably use an outfielder or a reliever. So he's starting to build that, but that takes 2-3 cycles to get through. Like if you look at the classes, 25 starts building that with your pitching. 26, I mean, you get half of that class on campus, and you've got a monster all of a sudden. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out because the recruiting class is big. They are going to lose some guys. We got to whittle down. There's going to get some guys might go into the draft. Some guys might get drafted out of that recruiting class. You just never know. I think one of the interesting things we talked about a little bit last week, and here's a question about it. Will Gasparino, you mentioned that you thought maybe he might be one of the guys that portals out. Any news on that? No news.
There?
I mean, conversations are being had. I mean, on both sides. Like, there's
that's what I figured.
For other teams, and Texas is still talking. So
I mean, I think once the news happens, you'll see. Because I don't think these guys want to wait around. Like if that's something that was going to happen. It's going to happen when it happens. You know what I mean? Like it'll be within a day, just like the other guys. Whatever conversation.
There's also 8 teams still playing in baseball right now. So, I mean, if one of the teams that's interested is still playing, they may say, "Hey, wait for a week." Right? So it's
a whole mess. Let's just put it that way. So it'll be interesting to follow that over the course of the next few weeks and see what it looks like. I would think generally in the next 3 weeks we'll have a pretty good idea what this roster is going to look like headed into fall. There may still be some late things. I mean, we're going to be through the draft at that point, so we'll know what that incoming recruiting class looks like from a draft perspective. We'll know if guys off of our team currently are going to decide to I mean, they're going to get drafted, but whether they decide to do it or not. So, it's going to be interesting. Fun stuff. I mean, not fun stuff to me. Again, this is the part I hate.
I hate it.
Just
let me know who's going to be on our team next year.
Yeah, right? That's what I just long for, the days when like dudes came to the school and they were there until they got drafted. They were there. But
then you had the Pittsburgh Pirates who just overpay by millions of dollars to steal Texas players just for fun. So,
Yeah.
I want to tell my story, Sean.
Go ahead.
I'm not even going to exaggerate, man. I've had no less than 10 to 12 guys who have been drafted in the last 10 years. And these weren't like first round draft picks, right? But it's like the marginal guys, a relief pitcher who you weren't sure if he was going to sign or not. And then he ends up signing at the last minute. I've had so many of these kids come back, visit left field and say, man, that was the worst decision I ever made, leaving school early, right? They think $200,000 is a lot of money. You know what, bro? It's not.
It gets cut in half, like basically right off the jump. Yeah. Like half your 200,000 gone.
Yeah, and then go ride a fucking school bus in Kentucky for 6 months and
exactly.
Tell me how fun that is, right? Like,
exactly.
I just hope that some of the kids that are on the fence, they get picked in the mid rounds, that they come back, man, and kind of understand and see what UT's building. And man, I'm hoping that we'll get some of those big arms back and be stocked up and ready to go next season. Murray State got it done, man. That's wild. Go Racers.
Yeah, the Racers advance on a what would we call that? An interference slide into second base. Slid right up under the second baseman and chopped him down, so they called him out. That's pretty wild, man.
They're going to review it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, they will review it. Speaking of reviews and obstructions, holy crap. Like, you got to have it. You got to have the conversation, dude. You have to, because those were fun games. You mentioned it. Those were entertaining games. And then they completely almost ruined them with like some of the dumbest, like unimaginable calls I've ever seen. I didn't know. I tell you, I don't watch softball that much. I had no idea that there was even an obstruction.
That's a flop in the Murray State game. Flop. They're going to overturn.
I don't know, man. He's sliding out of the bag path. Anyway, so yeah, fix that, NCAA, because I think you have a pretty decent product if you don't screw it up. But that stuff was just absurd. And I think I saw one either in the Supers or earlier in the World Series for the ladies where somebody was just trying to catch a ball. They got trucked by the base runner, and the fielder got called for obstruction or interference or something like that. I'm like, that's just bad business.
It reminded me of like how bad targeting was like 2 years ago in college football, where it ruined every damn game.
And I tweeted that. I said we found a dumber rule than freaking targeting. I was
gonna turn off the TV in the softball World Series if they would have called obstruction on Mia Scott at that play at third base.
Yeah,
where the girl got thrown out from the outfield, and they did another 10-minute review trying to call that obstruction. I was like, man, that's ridiculous. So
yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with this review right here. Let's talk a little postseason awards for that. I don't think we've talked about. I know we've all tweeted it, but man, Dylan Volantis just kind of racking up some postseason accolades. He was a Golden Spike semifinalist, pitcher of the year. Wasn't it pitcher of the year finalist? He was. I know he was like stopper of the year finalist. And then today they announced he's a freshman All-American. So congratulations to Dylan. Obviously, didn't make the finals for the Golden Spikes. And I don't know. I haven't seen anything on pitcher of the year or stopper of the year. I'm assuming they'll announce those.
They don't announce those until later. He won't be pitcher of the year, but he has a good shot at being stopper of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I think we know that. I think just being in that group of people as a freshman and given he didn't start games is pretty amazing. And then Rylan Galvan, the Buster Posey Award finalist. So congrats to Rylan and Dylan. That's good stuff, man.
Which Galvan has a decent chance of winning Buster. I think.
Yeah, I think he does.
I think for the kid from Coastal likely takes it, but Galvan's got a puncher's chance for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want to win that stuff, but I think just being there and being in that group of people is got to be just pretty exciting. So again, congrats to those two guys. Oh, safe at first. So we got one more out, folks. A little too early on the celebration. Let's talk these super regions.
They're gonna hit it. They're gonna hit a 2-run walk-off right now. Watch.
Man, that would be crazy. That would be nuts. You might have just called it, dude. And how that would ruin my night. I don't know. I'm an underdog guy, man. Like, I'm pulling for Murray State. I think how cool that would be.
Who's the one man that put Murray State on that graphic right there?
Yeah, I know. Let's talk about it. So I absolutely got my ass kicked in this thing. I think I got like one right.
Oh wait, I picked UCLA as well. Y'all both picked the Meeps.
Yeah, dude. Leave it to UTSA to like forget how to play baseball all of a sudden. Yeah, like they play the series of their lives. Yeah, it was terrible. So yeah, I got 3. I'm bringing up the rear. I got 3 right, which is just absurd. I don't even know how I could have flipped a coin and done better than that. And I actually put some thought into this shit, and I still only got 3 right. Mark, I think you're 4. I think you got 4 of them right.
I got 5 out of 8. That's not terrible.
Zach wins it with 5 out of 8, man. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. Let's talk about the Supers.
Wait a second. The Duke game is still on right now. You can't be.
No, it's over, man.
Get out of here.
It's over, man. If it's not, I'm protesting. And I even picked Duke.
But I'm just saying the game's not over yet.
Yeah, you're right. That's fair. All right. But biggest surprise so far in the Supers, Murray State beating Duke notwithstanding, possibly. What's been the biggest surprise to you guys over the Super Regional weekend?
Dude, mine has to be Carolina. I thought Carolina was one of the favorites to win the College World Series. And man, the second time this has happened in a Super where a hosting team just wipes the floor with the other team in game one. They won by 16 runs.
Yeah, just a
And then
beatdown.
they blew 2 eighth-inning leads on Saturday and Sunday to mess up their trip to Omaha, man. That was just incredible. I was shocked. Lost a shitload of money on North Carolina yesterday too. So I was not happy about that. But anyway, man, I thought they were going to go to Omaha, and obviously on that side of the bracket, I thought once they got there, they were going to be a shoe-in to get to the finals against Arkansas or LSU. But that one really, really surprised me. That's the biggest surprise of the Supers for me so far.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the second one that was a surprise was Florida State. You think about having Jamie Arnold as your ace. You got Mendez. Like the fact that bullpen melted down not once but twice to lose. That
first one, that first game. So I saw the replay of it. When did I see that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I saw the replay of it. I think it was Friday night after the softball game.
Right. Zach wins.
What? There it is.
Oh, they already see. I'm a little bit behind y'all, so y'all just ruined it for me. But there it is, officially. Zach wins. They get the dog pile twice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope they didn't waste all their dog piles. So yeah, that Florida State meltdown was just that had to have been a nut punch. And I told my wife, I was like, I don't think they're coming back from that.
Nah,
like that's one of those types of deals where you just can't. You don't have enough time to grieve to get back right. And to me, you lose game one in that type of format, and it's just not good. It's tough. It is a tough road to hoe to get back in it. So, yeah, I think, man, I was really surprised that UTSA did not show better.
Bunch of bums.
I know, man. Like the saying is true, man. Texas is everybody's Super
I know that
Bowl.
Marc had bird fever all week.
Yeah, he did.
But the fact is, like, when you're a small school like that, and I mean, they've got some talented kids, but like they put everything they had into getting out of that regional. I really, truly believe that. And there's times when you have to travel across the country and it's a whole new setting. It's a whole different vibe. Like they didn't have the world is against us. It's that mundane UCLA crowd out there. It looks a lot different. And there's also
such a shitty environment for a super regional.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Like outside the palm trees in right field, like who the hell's playing UCLA, Jackie Robinson Stadium? Like that, they couldn't even practice there for half the season because the government like shut them down.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
I honestly think like you take the pressure of, hey, we're 3 games away or 2 games away from going to College World Series. What they did and overcame in Austin, I think it was too much. The moment was just too much for him. But I mean, hell of a season by the Meeps. I mean, they took it to Texas for 3 games.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. 100%. I think another one that was kind of surprising, and maybe I'm wrong on this. I don't think Auburn led a second of their super regional against Coastal.
Yeah, I don't think they did, but Coastal. It's like 2016 all over again. That Coastal team is just gritty as hell, and Odine, like I said, he may be the favorite to win the Buster Posey. He's such a good catcher, and they just play solid brand of ball. I mean, they're good.
Dude, they haven't lost a game since April 22nd. That's insane.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, wow. Yeah.
That is absolutely nuts.
But that's why you put him in Omaha, and I immediately bet against him because
it's bound to happen, right?
It's going to lose at some point, and it's going to be ugly when it does.
Yeah. What was y'all's favorite series to watch? I'm assuming y'all watched pretty much all of them. I thought the Louisville and Miami series was pretty entertaining. Like I don't remember all the scores, but I feel like they were pretty close, kind of back and forth type deals. I thought the Tennessee and Arkansas series was pretty much a disappointment.
That was such a letdown.
Yeah, Tennessee got spanked like freaking a redheaded stepchild, and they weren't even acting like the WWE team they usually act like while they were doing it. So what were we watching for, right? If I couldn't watch to like clown on them for acting stupid, they should at least make the score close.
Yeah. Kyle Peterson was kind of calling that out a little bit yesterday, man. The way that Doyle pitched the first inning against Arkansas yesterday was so odd, man. He was like stepping off the mound after every pitch and looked like he was trying to like throw off Arkansas by taking extra time. And it looked like he was doing the opposite, right? He was like psyching
Throwing himself
himself
off.
out and almost
Yeah.
taking himself out of his normal approach. And I think the first time he got a runner on first base, he threw over to first like 7 times. So they just didn't look like themselves. And
Yeah, they didn't look
and,
confident.
yeah, Arkansas was just a unit over the weekend, man. I
Yeah.
loved watching Root. He acted like a Tennessee Volunteer player
Yes.
when he was on the mound on Saturday, just talking shit and giving it to Tennessee the whole time. So I hate Arkansas with every fiber of my being, but they're a damn good team, and I think they're the team to beat right now in Omaha.
They are definitely
it's
one
a
of
travesty that we have an LSU Arkansas game 1
agreed.
in
Let's
Omaha,
talk about it.
but
Yeah.
that Arkansas Tennessee matchup was okay. UNC for me was the best super regional. Louisville Miami was quality. Oregon State Florida State was good just because it went down every single night.
Right.
UCLA versus the Meeps was just boring. Louisiana State beating up on West Virginia wasn't any fun other than that one, like, I think it was game 2 where West Virginia got up a little bit and was kind of showing some fight, and they just got stomped. It was, I mean, the super regionals were good, but it wasn't high drama like I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was highly entertained sitting in my pool, getting a sunburn and having drinks both days. So, but yeah, some of them were kind of lame. Let's talk about the matchup. So game 1 will be Arizona against Coastal Carolina. Arizona, a team that, man, was highly touted coming in, completely almost just fell on their face to start the season. And they've just kind of worked their way back into it. And here they are in Omaha. It's one of those baseball stories, right? Like baseball happens. If you're good, you find a way, right? And they did. How do we? So you're betting. I heard you say it, Zach. You're taking Arizona in game 1. No doubt about it. No more dirtbag Coastal Carolina going forward from here, huh?
No, I like Arizona in game 1. I like Oregon State game 1, especially if they throw Dax Whitney versus Patrick Forbes in game 1 against Louisville. That's going to be some must-watch TV from a pitching standpoint. Honestly, I like Murray State against UCLA in game 1. I think that'll be a really interesting matchup just from what they're able to bring. They're going to have a little bit shorter rest. It's a big moment for Murray State stepping on that stage. There's a lot, like, people don't realize, like, there's a lot that goes into it. The amount of time you spend with media and doing all the pre-Omaha stuff, that takes a lot out of you. But I'm not terribly impressed by UCLA. They've got some really good pieces. Their pitching is better than I thought it was. But Murray State's a scrappy team, and that's not one that you want to have fun playing with in game 1, because you let the scrappy team stick around, and all of a sudden everyone's going to be behind Murray State. I mean, Coastal Carolina and Murray State are going to have fans from all over the nation hoping one of those two win instead of these other 6 yokels.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of Arkansas and Louisiana State fans because they're going to travel. I think the Oregon State fans will travel.
No, hell no, they won't. No, they won't.
Oregon State's not a big travel.
They have no fans. No.
Arizona, Louisiana State, and Arkansas are the only teams that are going to travel big here.
I mean, that's fair. Some of these schools are small. So anyway, what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make, and y'all, before y'all smash it in my face, is all these fans that are neutral for that game, they're going to be rooting for Murray State for a couple reasons. Like, if you're in their side of the bracket, that's who you want to play, regardless of how well they're playing. Roster wise, they're not UCLA, even though UCLA may not be on par with Louisiana State and Arkansas by any stretch of the imagination. If I'm Louisiana State or Arkansas, I want to win game 1, and I want to play Murray State in the winter game. So they'll be rooting for, but the story is just cool. I think, to me, like, could they be like a Fresno State, or are they just going to show up like a lot of teams that find a way to get there and then just absolutely get run out of the place? To me, that's kind of the storyline for them.
I mean, Coastal won it all in 2016, so they've been there before. And
I think Coastal's a team that could. That, man, to me, that left side of the bracket outside of Oregon State is wide open. So if someone can knock Oregon State off early and get them playing from behind, I think that left side of the bracket could be pretty wild, and we might not know who comes out of that thing. Thoughts? Am I crazy?
No, I think, like I said, Patrick Forbes versus Oregon for Louisville going against probably Dax Whitney from Oregon State, I think if that's the pitching matchup, which I think it will be for game one, that's a heck of a matchup right there. So.
Yeah, and then I think obviously the marquee game is Louisiana State, LSU, and Arkansas on Saturday night, 6:00, I believe, is when the first pitch for that one is.
And whoever wins that one's going to have the leg up to come out of that side of the bracket. So I mean, it's
I mean
that's just going to be a wild game on Saturday night, man. For those people who have never been to Omaha yet, that first Saturday of the series is like spring break in downtown Omaha, and man, to have those two programs playing the night game, it is going to be complete pandemonium in that city the entire day. So the atmosphere of that game is going to be insane. I'm guessing tickets to that game are going to be going for $500 or more just to get into the stadium to see that one. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, because I mean, again, there'll be some like people that just go, and that's one you want to go and watch for sure. I mean, you hate to say that a game on day two is, probably like the biggest one, but it could be the biggest one. I mean, it could very well determine who comes out of that bracket.
Outside of the championship series, it'll probably have the highest attendance.
Yeah, and it have the highest ratings for sure. I'm looking at this lineup and I'm going, did the NCAA get what they want from a ratings perspective? Probably not. But I will watch the shit out of it because I love the College World Series. I've been twice. Both times Texas was there, but I would go and spend the first 4 days there anytime to watch all those teams play twice. That's an absolute blast. So if you haven't gone, you get the opportunity. I highly, highly recommend getting to Omaha, go take some shots at Rocco's and go watch some, I mean,
don't support that nonsense.
It's just part of the experience. It's just part of the experience.
It's not part of the experience.
Oh, come on, man.
We need to have the idiots from corporate America buying $20,000 worth of shots just so that your team can be in the lead. That's not an experience. That's just dumb.
I'm saying
Jim Bob from Oxford, Mississippi coming in, throwing $25,000 down on a platinum card. Yeah,
still losing.
That competition is.
I'm not talking about the competition. I'm just saying walk in there and get a shot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, agree.
That's all I'm saying.
Go support the old mattress factory. Go support the place on 13th. Go get your steak from Drover. Like, go support like
spots. There's all
Omaha.
kinds of
Don't support the idiots at Rocco's. That's all. I mean,
you could do both, man. You could do both. It doesn't have to be so territorial.
Go to the Irish pub that's been forever. I can't. Who is it? It's not LSU. It's one of the Blue Buds has like an Irish pub that's their bar. Like that's what the thing to do is like you go find the bar for that specific team because they're always meeting up at one place or the other.
Isn't that place called Billy Frogs or something like that?
Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah.
That's right across the street, right? Like right across from home plate. Correct?
It's down
in the market.
It's closer to downtown.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know there's a few bars outside of Rocco's or Rocco's or whatever you want to call it that are right there across the street. I believe like
the
on
Vlad
the first
is really cool.
Yeah. They've always been too packed for me. Plus I had kids with me, so I wasn't going to
go to the. I think the place right outside of home plate is good. There's a really good bar. It's like more like a brew pub type place. It's probably 3 blocks down west of the stadium. That was my place to go to and hang out because you can get some food and they had all kinds of different beers on tap and all that. But
I'm getting
y'all are making me. Y'all are making me wish I hadn't canceled my flight.
Yeah, I'm getting a little sad right now. So we're gonna move on. Who's gonna win this whole thing? Who do we think's winning this whole deal?
Arkansas. Dave Van Horn finally gets it.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be poetic justice. They're gonna play at Oregon State in the finals, and they're gonna avenge that dropped foul ball on the first base side. They're gonna win, and Van
that
Horn's
would be
gonna
wild.
he's gonna ride off into the sunset, retire, as a champion, and then next year, Tony Vitello is going to be their coach in Fayetteville. Mark it down.
That is a proclamation right there. I am surprised y'all are writing off that LSU pitching staff, man. I'd like Cade Anderson and Ianson. We got no love for those guys.
No.
I think they're good, but I think Zach Root is. I like the offense better for Arkansas than I do Louisiana State.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting.
I hate
to
Arkansas,
see.
but I hate
can't
Arkansas,
stand.
but I think they're the best team.
Oh, I think they're certainly the best team. Like, but I don't think it's by much over LSU. And man, LSU just does LSU stuff when they get out there in Omaha. I don't know, man. So you guys are saying Arkansas in the final. You think it's Arkansas and Oregon State?
That's my pick.
I'm gonna say, just to be completely like, don't give a shit, I'm saying LSU and Coastal Carolina are in the final.
That'd be a fun series to watch.
I think people would watch that. Like, I think a lot of people will watch that. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know if I'm right. I'm probably not. I probably just doomed LSU and Coastal Carolina to go in 2 in barbecue in this whole thing. So, but yeah. Anyways, it'll be fun. I'm sad that we only have one more. Well, I keep saying one more. We have 2 more weekends of college baseball left. One more event. So yeah, man, it's sad, man, but it is what it is. So yeah, we'll throw up some graphics on that. I'll make sure you guys got your Arkansas and your Oregon State. I can't believe Zach isn't rolling with his racers all the way to the end. But how wild would that be if the racers just ran through that bracket? Man, that would probably put that on a list of like sports feats. Where's that at? Is that like USA beats Russia on the hockey?
It's about the same as Coastal Carolina winning back in 2016. So
yeah, fair enough. Or Fresno State. Fresno State
probably, which is an even bigger underdog story because they Fresno State is the last only 4-team number 4 seed to ever win. So
yeah, they were bad. They started swinging the sticks really well, obviously, but
which, if you have not read the book about their run to the national championship, it's actually quite a good book. So
I might have to check that out. I might have to read that this weekend.
All the books that have been written about national champions, I think I've read this season. So Oregon State's, South Carolina's, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Fresno State, pretty much you name it, I've read their book this season. Yeah, I even read a book on Michigan baseball.
That had to be boring.
It was a little boring because the funny thing was, like, it was the year after Bakich had left for Clemson. And so, like, they weren't any good. They had brought all these, like, random pieces in. So, yeah, they weren't any good. I read A&M's book, which was also equally funny because they were just complete shit, even though they thought they were going to be good. Actually, like I said, the Fresno State book about them winning the national title was pretty good. Like, to see what they had to overcome in order to win all that was pretty insane.
Yeah, I remember watching it and just going, there's no way this is happening. And it sure as hell did. So you never know what's going to happen. They got there. We've been saying it all year. If you're the final 8 at the plate, you just don't know what's going to happen. I'll just hope to see some entertaining ball games, some drama. Like, I want to see somebody beat somebody they're not supposed to beat. I think that'd be cool. That's always fun, good sports stuff for me. Yeah, man. If y'all want to come and hang out, man, I'll be in the pool this whole time, like literally from Friday to like when they crown the national champion. I'm gonna be in the pool. We'll cook some food and have some drinks, man. We'll listen to some Dua Lipa or whatever her name is. We'll
make me sad again, huh? Yeah, listening to the 2025 Texas baseball soundtrack.
Yeah, the walk-up songs. Yeah. I swear to God, they played 9 to 5 like 2 hours later after I made that comment. I've never even heard that song on Lady Gaga radio, and they played it. It was like,
if I ever hear Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 one more time, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
Harley, you're out there. I'm coming for you somewhere.
Crazy. All right, guys. I appreciate you joining me tonight. That's it for this edition of the Bullpen. I will be back next Monday. You guys, I hope will join. We'll talk about the weekend of baseball, see how we're set up for the final, see if any of my teams are still around at that point. You can follow us on X for the latest in Texas baseball. Subscribe, get notified on the YouTube channel for all the latest content at Horn Takes. Make sure you get over to Chinook Seedery and load up on seeds. Use our promo code Horn Takes. You get 10% off your order. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody out there that has interacted with us this year, watched the show this year. We really appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Y'all get hooked.